Okay, welcome back to Mr. Lee Teaches YouTube channel. I'm Stuart Lee, and today on Friday's tutorial video, we're going to talk about Newsela, how to set up an account, how to use your account, and how to use the tools that Newsela has to help your students with their reading skills and with their comprehension. So here we're on the front page of Newsela, and if you have a pro account because your district's paid for it or you've paid for it, well, hopefully if you've paid for it, you know how to use it. But if your district has paid for all of your teachers to have a pro account like my district has, you're going to look just like I do when I get logged in. If not, you can use the free account. You just don't get quite as much feedback as the teacher from the students. So if you've never gone into Newsela before, click the join button, even if your district has paid for your account. You'll have to go through that setup, put in your email address and that kind of thing, and then Newsela will find the licensing and make you a pro user if your district pays for it. If not, you'll just have the free account. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and sign in because I've already signed in before. And you can put your username and password in or sign in with Google. If your district is a G Suite using district, sign in with Google is probably your best option. If not, email address, password that you set when you signed in the first time. I'm going to go ahead and sign in with Google. It's going to ask me which account. And so now it comes in, it tells me, welcome to Pro. Every time I sign in, it tells me welcome to Pro. And it also tells me to invite students because I actually don't have any students, as I don't have a classroom of students to have in there. So it gives me this screen to invite students every time. And we're going to talk about how to set up a class and how to invite students. But on the home page, we're going to see a whole lot of articles, text sets. These are text sets, text set here. And we can just go ahead and immediately start searching. Or we can go over here and look at the pre-sorted stuff. So we can look in the library and it's curated articles by topic. Or we can go over to news and that's more of your current events curated by different set of topics. Or we can go to text set, and those are sets of text that all relate to each other. So if we click on text set, then we see these different ones for science, okay? And daylight savings time, eclipse. But then on the other side, we have this advanced search. So if we look at grade level, if you select a grade level, what that means is you're guaranteeing that there is a Lexile level for that grade in this text set or in this article, if you're just choosing articles. So let's look for daylight savings time. If I choose that I need a Lexile level for second grade, I click second grade, daylight saving times goes away. So that means in that text set, they can't give me all of those articles with a second grade reading level. So if I unclick second grade, daylight savings time text set comes back. So I hope that makes sense. If I choose 11th and 12th, well, none of this really changes, but that just guarantees that there's an 11th through 12th grade reading level in those articles that the students can choose. The reading skills, these are from Common Core standards. So we're looking at skills that we're learning what the text says, central ideas, people and events. These are the skills that are going to be quizzed on at the end. And I'm going to show you the quizzes in just a second. We can choose language if we have Spanish speakers and we need to accommodate for our ESOL, English as a second language speakers. We can choose Spanish articles. There's no text sets for that, but we can choose articles for that. Down here, special features, elementary. This is articles that would be appropriate for younger readers. Max 6 means that these are articles that max out at reading level 6. Power words are articles that have words already underlined in the text as vocabulary words from Newsela. Pro teacher resources, those are activities that you can use with the article, and they give you kind of hints and tips. All articles won't have these, so if you choose that, it'll only give you articles that they have these pre-done activity ideas. Maybe it links to another article, maybe it links to some sort of an assignment or project. There's different kind of pro teacher resources. Now, if you have a free account, I don't think you get those. Recommended annotations, those are preset annotations that Newsela has put into the articles for you, and you can edit those or add to those if you'd like. And the social studies writing prompts, those are specifically for social studies, and I'll talk about social studies with Newsela in just a second. And then you can also look at the format. So if you're talking about primary sources, say in science, and you want to make sure that your students understand what a primary source is and how to use them, you can choose that. If you want to, if you're in an English class and you want to talk about essays and how essays are written and I mean, there's obvious reasons to be able to choose the format. So that's the advanced search, and we can do that not only for text sets, but also for any search. So if we just click in the search, we go to search, we can choose English or Spanish. We can choose from these categories. These are suggested searches, kind of like Google does in their suggested search. But then we have the same advanced features over here if we click on advanced search. And so as we change, our options change. Now, I was mentioning social studies. Under units, the only units they have right now are for social studies. And these are units based off of Common Core standards. And these are articles put together to encompass the needed information for these Common Core standards for social studies. Supposedly, Newsela is going to be creating this for other subjects as well, but they started out with social studies, which to me is a great thing. So let's go into an article. So let's do this one, just for example. And so it presents it to me as the educator at a 9th grade level, and it tells me that it has 894 words. I can go in and I can change the Lexile level. So if I go up to max, now we have 1100 words. If I drop down to the 3rd grade level, it's got 492 words. So you can see it changes the article in that it changes the number of words and the difficulty for the reading level, but it doesn't change the content of the article. The article's content, the information presented in the article doesn't change, just the difficulty of reading with the Lexile levels. And so if you come in here, and you or your students can do this as well. So if I want to highlight, summarize, and I can highlight a word and then come over here and annotate. And so when I share it with my students, will be able to see it when they read the article. If I unshare it, then it's just an annotation for me. And your students are able to do the same thing. We can also go into open activities up here at the top, and your students will be able to see this as well. And there's always a writing prompt. Now, if the writing prompt is not something that you particularly like, or you want to do a different writing prompt, you can always edit the writing prompt, come in here and add to it, redo it, whatever. It doesn't change it for the world. It only changes it for the students you assign it to. And then once you're done, we can save it. And now this is the new writing prompt. And the quiz, there's always a 4-question quiz, and it tells you the skill for the question. Now, because the article changes with the Lexile level, the annotations are per Lexile level article. So if I change the Lexile level, this annotation won't be on the new article because it's different. It's a different wording, it's a different paragraph structure, it's a different article, even though it's the same content. The questions in the quiz will be different as well because the article is different enough that you have to change the quiz. But the skill asked in the question will be the same. So you're still quizzing the skills across the Lexile levels, just not the same questions, just not the same reading levels. So as a student answers the questions, it goes through, and then once it's done, it gives student feedback on which ones they got right and which ones they got wrong. At the top of every article is a little bookmarks. So you can bookmark articles, come back to them later, use them again next semester, next year, that kind of thing. You can share your articles. You can send them to Google Classroom directly. It integrates right into Google Classroom. I'm going to show you how to bring your Google Classroom classes into Newsela as well. You can send it out to Remind if you're a Remind user. You can email it, Google+, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Haven't really seen educational uses of Pinterest yet, but it is a good idea, I guess. All right, so let's look at, well, we can always print it, but I I try to avoid printing at all cost. And then if we do a plus, we can create a new text set. And so the text sets we choose from are great, but if we want to make our own, we can create a new one as well. Or we can plus and then add it to one that we've already created. But the only other tab we haven't looked at is our binder tab. And this is where you see the results from your students. So I'm going to zoom in on this right here, so because I don't have students in a class or anything. So I have the articles, how many students have used it versus how many have or viewed the article, as opposed to how many has been assigned to, how long they've spent in the article, the average score on the quiz, lots of great, how many total annotations that the students have made in that article, lots of great summary information you can see here per assignment. So now let's say I want to assign this article to my Newsela class. All I gotta do is come over here to assign to on the left, and then all of the classes that I have in Newsela will be listed here. Now I just have the one for, for training purposes. And so I can assign it to my training class, and here I can give it directions. So I can tell them to highlight words. I can tell them to make sure you do the writing prompt and the quiz. I can give a lot of instructions right here. I can actually tell them to read this article and then go read another article, and then do a compare and contrast, or tell me how they're related. Lots of options here, because these instructions will appear above the article when the students pull up the article. So they will see the instructions first, then they will see the article. And then finally, we can go in here, and this is where I'm going to show you how to create a class. I know you've been waiting for it. So you can edit any of these profile features. It shows you some information on your account, if you have email preferences. But here under classes, we can either manually create a class and then select the grade. We'll make it this 8th grade, and then we can add a class. And so now we have a class, and we have a class join code. So students would go to their profile and go to classes, and they would be able to enter this class join code. You can also click on add students, and this will give you the link to give to the students, say through Google Classroom or some other, Edmodo or something like that. And it also gives you the code. This would also be a good thing just to have up on your smartboard or on your projector, and they could see this a little bit more clearly, and then be able to go and maybe even type in this. This isn't too bad of a web address, so they'd be able to type that in probably, and join your class. Now you can also import from Google Classroom by clicking this button. It's going to ask you to sign into your Google account again, just to verify that you are you and that you're signing into that Google account. And then so once we've signed into Google again, we have to go back to classes. That's kind of annoying, but that's what it is. So we'll import Google Classroom again. And it's going to take a few minutes for it to go through and find all of your Google classes and then bring them into Newsela. Okay, so once it gets done, we can see all of the classes that we are either a teacher or a co-teacher in. And we can select them if we want to. And then we can also pick the grade that class is. So this is a 6th grade mechanics career development class, so I would put 6th grade. I'm not going to add any of these classes because some of these classes do have students in them for real, and I don't want to mess around with them while they're in school today. So anyway, we would select the classes, and like I said, well, this is my faculty one, so we'll call them 12th graders. We have 30 students in there, and then we can import the selected class. So my class has been imported, so I've got that. Now I can see that class here. I can come over here to students, and it gives me all of my classes, my training class, my new class I just created, and then the faculty class that I synced from Google Classroom, and it gives me a list of all the students in that class with their email addresses. Now, every time I log into Newsela, it's going to automatically sync my Google classes. So you should never have to resync Google classes. However, if you stay logged into Newsela all the time and you have a new student that joins your Google Classroom, you could come in here and hit that real quick for those kind of individual instances to be able to pull those students in. But now we can go and look. And so we have no assignments yet. We have no reading summary yet for our students. And then you have to remember that Newsela is a dynamic program. It's going to take 8 quizzes And then after 8 quizzes, Newsela is going to automatically recommend the Lexile level for the student. So you got to kind of be careful. If you have a sneaky student who likes to be lazy, they might can game the system a little bit. So just watch out for that, because you'll be able to see the Lexile level on the quizzes and know what Lexile level the student is reading the articles at. So you'll just need to monitor that. Once it starts monitoring the Lexile level for the students, it will start comparing them to students around the world reading the same articles at the same level, and determine whether the student is below proficient, proficient, or above proficient at that Lexile level. And the students can move up in Lexile levels as they continue to improve with your class and with reading through Newsela, and Newsela measures that they're doing better and better and better, and it'll start bumping up their Lexile level if it's appropriate. So that's Newsela in a nutshell. I hope it gave you some information. At least you get to see what all is behind the hood, under the hood. As always, I appreciate you watching my videos. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you like my content, give me a subscribe. And that way you'll be notified every time I release new content on Mondays and Fridays and sometimes Wednesdays. Have a great weekend. It's almost Christmas break for us, so hopefully you have a great holiday, and we'll see you again next week.